Welcome to Context 101. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Tonight we examine a high-stakes struggle in the South China Sea, a region where global trade routes and energy reserves collide with rising superpower ambitions. This vast expanse of water dotted with islands and reefs is more than just a strategic crossroads. It's a flashpoint where history, economics, and geopolitics intersect. Every year, trillions of dollars in goods pass through these waters, making it one of the world's most vital arteries for commerce and energy. But beneath the surface, tensions simmer, threatening to disrupt not only regional peace but the global economy itself. China claims nearly the entire sea, drawing a sweeping line on its maps that cuts deep into the territories of its smaller neighbors. This so-called 9-dash line is more than a cartographic assertion. It's a bold statement of intent, backed by growing military and economic power. For Beijing, the South China Sea is a core interest, a matter of national pride and security, and it's willing to defend its claims with increasing assertiveness. The Philippines, refusing to back down, has published its own map, reasserting its rights under international law. Manila insists that its claims are rooted in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, and that its fishermen and citizens have a right to these waters. For many Filipinos, this is a fight for sovereignty, dignity, and the future of their coastal communities. This is not just a local dispute, it's a test of the international rules-based order. The world is watching to see whether established laws and agreements can withstand the pressure of power politics. The outcome will set a precedent for how similar disputes are handled elsewhere, shaping the future of international relations. The U.S. and other Southeast Asian nations watch closely, as the outcome could reshape regional stability. Washington conducts freedom of navigation operations, while ASEAN countries debate how best to respond. The stakes are high, not just for governments, but for millions whose lives depend on peace and open seas. In late 2025, Manila's new map directly challenged China's 9-dash line, invoking a 2016 tribunal ruling that China rejects. This legal battle has reignited old tensions, with both sides digging in and refusing to compromise. The tribunal's decision, though celebrated by some, remains unenforced, highlighting the limits of international law when great powers refuse to comply. China responded with a surge in Coast Guard and naval patrols, escalating tensions. The risk of accidental clashes has grown as ships from both sides maneuver in close quarters. Each encounter is a reminder of how quickly a standoff could spiral into something far more dangerous. The conflict impacts fishermen, fragile reefs, and the livelihoods of millions. Local communities face dwindling catches and environmental damage, while the region's unique marine biodiversity is threatened by overfishing and militarization. For ordinary people, the stakes are immediate and deeply personal. As 2026 begins, the risk of miscalculation is high, and the world is watching to see if law or power will prevail. Every move is scrutinized by global leaders, analysts, and citizens alike, as the possibility of conflict looms over the horizon. The choices made here will echo far beyond these waters. This is a story you need to understand, because what happens in the South China Sea will shape the future of Asia, and perhaps the world. At the very heart of the South China Sea crisis lies China's controversial 9-dash line, a sweeping maritime boundary that has become one of the most hotly debated issues in international relations today. This U-shaped claim was first sketched by the Chinese government in the 1940s, appearing on official maps as a series of dashes looping around the majority of the South China Sea. Over the decades, it has evolved from a vague cartographic feature into a central pillar of China's foreign policy and regional ambitions. The 9-dash line encompasses nearly 90% of the South China Sea, cutting deep into waters that are also claimed by the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei. These countries' exclusive economic zones, or EZs, are recognized by international law, but China's claim overlaps them, creating a tangled web of competing interests. China insists its claim is rooted in centuries of historical usage, citing ancient records and maps. However, these assertions are fiercely contested by its neighbors, who argue that history cannot override modern international law. The international community, too, has largely rejected China's historical narrative, viewing it as legally invalid. The 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, which China has ratified, clearly defines EEZs and grants coastal states exclusive rights to resources within 200 nautical miles of their shores. This framework was designed to prevent exactly these kinds of disputes. Yet the 9-dash line disregards these internationally recognized zones, setting up a direct and ongoing conflict with the legal order established by UNCLOS. This clash has become a flashpoint for regional tension and global concern. In 2013, after years of failed negotiations and rising tensions, the Philippines took the unprecedented step of bringing China to court under the UNCLOS framework, seeking a legal resolution to the dispute. The 2016 Hague Tribunal delivered a landmark ruling, overwhelmingly siding with Manila. The tribunal declared China's expansive claims to be without legal basis, stating that the 9-dash line had no standing under international law. Despite this decisive verdict, China dismissed the ruling outright. Since then, it has accelerated its activities in the region, constructing artificial islands, militarizing reefs, and deploying its coast guard to assert control and intimidate neighboring countries. In defiance of international law and mounting diplomatic pressure, China continues to enforce its claims through a combination of military presence, economic leverage, and persistent pressure on its neighbors. The result is a tense and dangerous standoff, one that pits established legal precedent against the realities of raw power and strategic ambition. How the world chooses to respond to this challenge will not only determine the fate of the South China Sea, but also set the tone for the future of the global maritime order and the rule of law at sea. The stakes could not be higher, as the outcome will reverberate far beyond these contested waters, shaping the balance of power in the Asia-Pacific and beyond. The Philippines' new map, released in December 2025, is more than just a document. It's a bold statement of sovereignty and a powerful symbol of the nation's resolve. This map is the product of years of legal battles, diplomatic negotiations, and a growing sense of national pride. It's not only a tool for navigation but a declaration to the world that the Philippines is standing firm in defense of its maritime rights. The new map clearly marks the country's exclusive economic zone under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, and officially renames the area the West Philippine Sea. This move is more than a technical adjustment, it's a deliberate effort to reinforce national identity and assert the Philippines' rightful place in regional affairs. Manila also draws on deep historical roots, citing the 1734 Murillo Velarde map, an artifact that predates China's sweeping claims and unmistakably shows Scarborough Shoal as part of Philippine territory. This centuries-old map is now a key piece of evidence in the country's legal and diplomatic arsenal. By presenting this historical evidence, the Philippines directly challenges Beijing's narrative and strengthens its own case on the global stage. The use of such documents is a strategic move, aiming to win both international support and domestic confidence. Today, the new map is central to the country's diplomatic efforts. It's also being taught in schools across the nation, helping to build a sense of unity and shared purpose among Filipinos, especially the next generation. The government's new approach is one of assertive transparency, publicizing Chinese activities in disputed waters, reinforcing its legal claims through international law, and actively rallying support from allies and partners around the world. It's a calculated risk, but one that Manila believes is necessary to defend its sovereignty, protect its resources, and ensure the security of its people for generations to come. With this new map, the Philippines is drawing a line, both on paper and in policy, making it clear to the world where it stands and what it stands for. Scarborough Shoal, just 124 nautical miles from the Philippines, is a flashpoint. Once a vital fishing ground, it's been under Chinese control since 2012, with Filipino fishermen blocked and harassed. Tensions spiked in 2024 when Chinese Coast Guard ships used water cannons against a Philippine vessel. China's recent declaration of a marine reserve at the shoal is seen by Manila as a pretext for further occupation. The shoal's fate is symbolic. For the Philippines, it's about sovereignty and livelihoods. For China, it's a strategic foothold. The 2016 tribunal ruled Filipinos have fishing rights here, but China's blockade remains. Each incident raises the risk of direct confrontation. The conflict has spilled into environmental accusations. In late 2025, China blamed the Philippines for damaging Scarborough Shoal's ecosystem, a claim Manila called propaganda. The 2016 tribunal found China's island building caused severe reef destruction and illegal harvesting of endangered species. Filipino officials point to widespread coral devastation from Chinese activities, including giant clam harvesting. China's environmental claims are seen as a pretext for tightening its grip on the shoal. The real casualty, the South China Sea's fragile marine life. The legal battle is matched by a military buildup. Chinese vessels in the South China Sea jumped from 278 in 2024 to 447 in 2025, many inside the Philippine EEZ. China's Navy, Coast Guard, and Maritime militia now operate in coordinated, intimidating formations. Every joint drill between the Philippines and its allies triggers a surge in Chinese ships. Manila is responding with expanded military exercises and stronger alliances, aiming to deter further aggression. The risk hundreds of ships from rival nations operating in close quarters, where a single misstep could spark crisis. The South China Sea is now a crowded, militarized arena. The line between deterrence and provocation is razor thin. The standoff reverberates across Southeast Asia and the world. ASEAN nations watch closely. If the Philippines succeeds, others may follow. If not, China's dominance could seem inevitable. The South China Sea is a global trade artery. Any conflict would disrupt trillions in commerce and energy supplies. The seabed's oil and gas reserves add to the stakes. The dispute has entered popular culture, with regional backlash against Chinese media promoting the 9-dash line. For the U.S., the conflict tests its security commitments and the credibility of the rules-based order. Freedom of navigation operations and joint drills signal Washington's resolve. The South China Sea is now a central front in U.S.-China rivalry. The outcome will shape the region for decades. Experts warn the greatest danger is miscalculation. The Philippines' strategy of assertive transparency, exposing Chinese actions and reinforcing legal claims, has rallied global support. Analysts say China's goal is to create a new normal through constant presence, slowly eroding rivals' ability to operate. The harassment and blockades are part of a long-term campaign, not a rush to open conflict. A single collision or misunderstanding could trigger escalation. Diplomats stress that Manila's alliances, especially with the U.S., are crucial for deterrence. The Philippines cannot stand alone. Its network of partners provides security and diplomatic weight. The future of the South China Sea depends on the unity and resolve of this coalition. The question, can they withstand sustained Chinese pressure? The answer will define the region's future. The South China Sea remains a powder keg. The Philippines stands firm, backed by law and alliances. China counters with ships and force. This is more than a territorial dispute. It's a test of whether law or power will shape the 21st century. The risk of conflict is real, with global economic and human costs. De-escalation and crisis communication are urgent priorities. A lasting solution requires dialogue and respect for international law, especially the 2016 tribunal ruling. The world must encourage China to negotiate in good faith. The Philippines' stand is a lesson in courage and the power of partnership. The lines are drawn, the world is watching. The quest for peace in the South China Sea matters to us all.